You know that feeling, right? That little flutter when a new collectible series drops. The frantic, refreshing stock just vanishes in seconds, and then boom, prices shoot up online. It's a real rush. But here's the downside. Where you find that kind of hype, that value, well, fakes tend to follow. So today, we're doing a deep dive. We're getting into authenticating Pop Mart's super popular Labubu figures and plush. Our mission to give you the tools, the knowledge to tell a real gem from a Lafufu knockoff.
Exactly, because it's more than just being disappointed when you open the box, isn't it? You're talking about wasted cash, frustration with, frankly, rubbish quality, maybe even materials that aren't safe, and it just chips away at the trust you have in the brands you love. And this isn't a small thing. I mean, global counterfeiting, the estimate was, what, USD $467 billion back in 2021? It affects everything now, not just fancy bags. Toys, collectibles are right in the crosshairs.
Wow, $467 billion.
Yeah.
That's kind of mind-blowing. And yeah, collectors definitely feel that impact. So, all right, get ready. We're going to pull back the curtain here. We'll look at everything in the box, the tags, the little details on the figures, and plush themselves. We'll figure out those official anti-counterfeit codes, and even touch on how, new tech like AI is stepping in. Think of this as your crash course in becoming a Labubu authentication expert. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. Why Labubu? Why now? Why does it feel like these fakes are just everywhere suddenly?
Yeah, it really is like a perfect storm brewing. You've got this massive sky-high demand, and then you've got supply that's often, pretty limited, sometimes deliberately so. That gap, well, that's prime real estate for counterfeiters, especially online, marketplaces, social media.
Yeah.
It's easy territory. But it's not just like small operations anymore. These counterfeit supply chains, they're slick, they're fast, they know digital marketing, targeted ads, the whole 9 yards, and they deliver quick.
That's genuinely unsettling.
Yeah.
So they're using the same kind of logistics, almost hiding right under our noses.
Pretty much. And what makes it really tricky is that more and more of these fakes are traveling in small parcels through regular post. Think about it. Customs are often focused on big shipping containers, large commercial loads. The sheer volume of tiny packages makes checking every single one, well, it's practically impossible at scale. It's like trying to find one specific dodgy grain of sand on a massive beach. So yeah, tons of fakes slip through. It's why we see a lot of seizures reported in postal packages. That's where they catch some, but, many more get through.
Right, a needle in a gigantic, constantly moving haystack. So given all that, where do we even start? As collectors, what's our first line of defense? Because you get that package, you're excited, you don't want that buzzkill immediately.
Exactly. And often the best place to start is the first thing you touch, the packaging, the box itself. Surprisingly, it holds some of the most reliable clues.
It's wild, isn't it? Thinking the box is more than just wrapping, I usually just tear it right in. But okay, what's the biggest tell? The most reliable thing on the box, even before we see the figure.
I'd say the security hologram and just the overall print quality. On real Pop Mart stuff, that hologram is sharp. It has real depth. It shimmers when you tilt it. Try tilting it like 30 to 60 degrees. You'll see that proper 3D effect. And the print, usual matte, colors are spot on, very consistent. Now, on a fake, that hologram often looks flat, like a cheap sticker, really. Blurry. You might see logo edges kind of bleeding. Colors might be way too bright or washed out, inconsistent. Sometimes the print is glossy when it should be matte. And yeah, we've even seen typos or logos just slapped on.
Typos on a collector's box. That's almost funny if it wasn't so frustrating. So it's not just that the elements are there, but the quality of how they're executed.
Absolutely. It's like its own little fingerprint. And here's a pro tip. Always, always compare. Pull up an official photo from Pop Mart's site or a trusted shop. Look at your box next to it in good daylight. Those little flaws, the micro defects, they tend to jump right out. But there's an even stronger tool on the box these days, that QR code. Pop Mart has a self-check system.
Ah, the QR code. Okay, quick honesty check. How often do you actually check the web address, the URL, after you scan something? It's such a simple thing, but I bet most of us just scan and assume, right?
Realty is charged sometimes. It's so easy to overlook. But yeah, that's a habit we definitely need to cultivate.
Okay. Point taken.
Yeah.
So how does this Pop Mart check work?
It's pretty simple, actually. You scan the QR code on the box or maybe the tag. That should take you straight to their official verification page. Follow the steps, and boom, it tells you if it's authentic. But, and this is crucial if you're buying something supposedly new, and the system says that code has been checked multiple times already. Huge red flag. Massive. It probably means the code's been copied and slapped onto a bunch of fakes. And yes, check that URL. Make sure it's the real Pop Mart domain, like https://mwss.popmart.com 111010 tag. That looks right. But if you see something slightly off, like https://fweli.popmart1.com or something weird. Nope. Fake. It's the digital version of a dodgy hologram, basically.
Okay, that's super helpful. Checking the URL new habit forming now. So let's say you've passed the QR code test, or maybe the box just felt off. Time to get hands-on, right? Because the actual figures and plush, they have their own secrets to tell, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. The product itself, vinyl figure, plushie, whatever, that's often where the differences become really clear. Counterfeiters just struggle to perfectly match the quality, the specific little details without the original molds and materials.
Right, let's start with the figures. The hard ones, vinyl, PVC, ABS plastic. What should we be looking for when we hold one?
Okay, authentic ones. They generally have a really uniform, clean finish. Smooth. Eyes are a big one. They should be glossy, perfectly centered, set just right. Paint lines should be crisp. No bleeding between colors. None. But here's a classic collector's tidbit, almost like folklore, but it's true. Real Labubus, they have 9 teeth. Exactly 9. Not 8, not 10, 9. Plus, the overall sculpt, the symmetry, it's consistent. Fakes. They often mess up the tooth count or the spacing or how deep they're sculpted. And look closely at the edges of the lips, the eyes. You might see piney smears or rough paintwork. Just looks low rent.
9 teeth! That's so specific. How on earth do people even figure that stuff out? It almost sounds like Pop Mart put it there on purpose to catch the fakes.
It could be. It's often these tiny, seemingly random details, like the 9 teeth that the counterfeiters just don't nail. It might be tied to the original mold design or a very specific step in how they're made. Something hard to copy without the inside info. It's like their secret handshake, you know? And for a closer look, try this. Grab your phone, get some good light, and take a macro shot, maybe at a 45-degree angle, focusing on the eyes or where 2 paint colors meet. On fakes, you'll sometimes see these little steps or jagged edges that your bare eye would just glide right over.
Incredible detail. So it's about noticing what's wrong, like a smudge, but also what's missing, like the right tooth count or a certain finish.
Okay, what about the plushies? I imagine the feel is probably a big giveaway there. You got it. Feel and fur are huge for plush. Originals. The fur is dense, super soft, feels smooth, kind of luxurious when you run your hand over it. Fakes often feel, well, crunchy is the word collectors use. Plasticky. The hairs might look shiny, cheap, just doesn't have that quality feel. Construction matters too. Real ones have balanced stuffing, feel solid but soft. Seams are neat, even symmetrical. Fakes. You'll often find lumpy stuffing, irregular seams, maybe threads sticking out, sloppy work. And don't forget the tags. Originals. Clear print, easy to read, no mistakes. Fakes often have blurry text, weird fonts, or just generic-looking tags.
Yeah, it always seems to come back to those little details, the things that maybe cost a tiny bit more to get right during production. That's where they cut corners.
Exactly. Connecting it back, these physical things. That's where counterfeiters save money. Getting the exact material feel, the precision molding, the really tight quality control, that's expensive and hard to replicate on the cheap. So those little things, the 9 teeth, that crunchy plush feel, they become surprisingly reliable signs. Because getting those right requires an attention to detail the fakers just don't have or aren't willing to pay for.
Okay, so beyond touching and looking really closely, Pop Mart also gives us that digital check, right? You mentioned the 3-step process. Can you walk us through that again quickly?
Sure. It's basically, 1, pick how you want to verify, usually scanning the QR. 2, get to the official verification page. Either the QR takes you there or maybe use a link. And 3, follow the steps on the page and it gives you the result, authentic or not. Quick tips. If the QR is being fussy, sometimes taking a really sharp photo of it helps the scanner app. Or you might be able to type the code in manually on their site. And lighting. Try good, diffuse light, not harsh glare when scanning. Helps the camera focus.
Good tips. And just to hammer it home, what are those red flags again during the digital check?
Right, recap. Big red flag if the QR sends you to a website that isn't the official Pop Mart domain. Check that URL. Another one. If the page asks for weird personal info it shouldn't need, be cautious. And like we said, if you bought it new, but the system says the code's already been verified, alarm bells should be ringing loud. Means the code's likely compromised.
Got it. And, technology doesn't stand still. It feels like this authentication game is constantly evolving. What's coming next to help us out?
Well, that's where things get really interesting with tech like AI.
Yeah.
There are companies like Hoken, for example, developing AI models that are being trained to authenticate collectibles just from photos or even videos you upload. What's cool is how it works. The AI looks at tons of tiny details simultaneously. Stuff like microscopic consistency in the layout, the sharpness of paint lines, tiny variations in facial symmetry, how regular the seams are on plush. It processes all these things together and gives you a score, an interpretation of authenticity.
So it's like having a superpowered magnifying glass, combined with an expert's eye, spotting things we'd never see.
Kind of, yeah. It can detect microvariations, maybe in paint thickness or slight asymmetries that are practically invisible to us. It aims to replicate what an expert collector does, but with, lab-grade consistency and speed, making authentication potentially faster and more reliable, especially for spotting those really convincing fakes. But, and this is really important as a caveat, these AI results, they're indicative. They help build confidence. They don't replace Pop Mart's own official verification system. Think of it as another powerful tool in your belt, not the final word.
Right, another layer of checking. Okay, so pulling this all together, what's the playbook for us collectors? How do we protect ourselves proactively? And what's the plan if we do suspect we got a fake?
Okay, playbook time. Safest move, always. Buy direct from official Pop Mart stores or their clearly listed, verified retail partners. Full stop. Be super, super skeptical of crazy low prices. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. And those guaranteed chaser offers for blind boxes. Run away. The whole point of a blind box is a surprise. Crucially, always do the official verification. Scan the QR, follow the steps, and take a screenshot of the result with the date. Keep that record. Now, secondhand market. Even more caution needed. Try to check the item's history. Where did it come from? Is there a receipt? Was it verified before? Compare that info with the physical item itself. And again, if the price is way, way below what it should be, high risk, trust your gut.
Okay, trust the gut. But what if the gut says, uh-oh, and you really think you've been sold a fake? What do you actually do?
Right, don't just get mad. Take action. First step. Document everything, get those macro photos, take video, make sure you capture the hologram tilt clearly, any dot you paint, bad seams, the works, save the URL from the verification page if you scanned one. Then contact the seller right away, explain the issue, request a return or refund, open a dispute if you need to. Also really important, report the fake listing to the platform, eBay, Amazon, wherever you bought it. Let them know. And if you paid with a credit card or PayPal or something similar, look into doing a chargeback. Contact your bank or payment provider. Doing all this isn't just about getting your money back. It helps protect other collectors, too, by making it harder for these fakers to operate.
That's great advice. Document, contact, report. Makes sense. Wow. Okay, we have definitely covered some ground today, from scrutinizing holograms to counting teeth. 9 teeth, never forget. You should now have a pretty solid toolkit to help you spot a genuine Labubu from a sneaky Lafufu. Remember, that knowledge, that's your best shield.
It really is. And this fight against fakes, it's bigger than just protecting our wallets or making sure our toys are real. It touches on consumer safety, brand trust is huge, and it even impacts the wider economy. The fact that we're seeing such sophisticated fakes, even in niche markets like collectibles, it just highlights this much bigger issue in global trade that affects everyone. It's about quality, authenticity, trust.
Absolutely. So, next time you're unboxing that exciting new figure, just pause for a second. Enjoy the thrill, but now you also have the power of knowing what to look for. And maybe, here's a thought to chew on, as AI gets smarter and smarter at spotting these fakes, do you think the counterfeiters will just get even faster, even sneakier? Will it become this endless digital cat and mouse game? Or could technology finally give authenticity the upper hand? What do you think the future holds for validating the things we love? We'll leave you with that question for your next deep dive.